Welcome back to our kitchen. Today I'm making some risotto. It's a really creamy rice dish. It takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it. It's going to be so good. To start off with, well, before I get to my shallot, I'll tell you what we have to do. We have to put our stock into a medium saucepan, and we want to get it warm so that when we add it to our risotto, it's already warm. So basically all we're doing is just heating this up. And this is a full quart of chicken stock. We are using stock rather than broth. Stock is a little richer and it has less salt. So if you can get a hold of the chicken stock, let's do that. Okay. Now all we're gonna do is turn that on so it's pretty high heat here until we get it boiling, and then I'll turn it down. And then we can get started on the ingredients that we're gonna put into the risotto. So they're pretty simple ingredients. This is a shallot, which if you don't use a lot of shallots, I highly recommend them. It's kind of a cross between an onion and garlic. So it's not as strong as onion, not as strong as garlic, kind of a nice mixture of the two. And you can just find shallots. Usually they're in a little bag with about 7 or 8 of them in there. And we're just going to dice that up real nicely. If I ever get this skin off of here. I finally got the little skins off those shallots. So right now I'm just going to dice it pretty finely here. And what we're doing is actually, the dish is called risotto, but the rice that we use is called arborio rice. It actually comes from Italy. Arborio rice is the type of rice in Europe. Risotto is the cooking method, so I'll show you how that cooking method takes place here in just a minute. Basically, it's just a real slow process with a lot of adding the wet ingredients to the rice and then stirring and watching it get creamy, which is really kind of a nice procedure. I kind of like it. It's kind of relaxing. You have to be patient with it, but it really, really is worth it. Okay, so we have our shallot diced nice and fine. And then our broth is over there, our stock is over there heating up. And now we're just gonna add to a medium saucepan. We're gonna add a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of olive oil. You can use vegetable oil if you'd prefer, but since it's Italian, I think olive oil is probably the best choice. That's about a tablespoon. Okay, let that heat up just a minute. Okay, time to add our shallot to the butter olive oil mixture. Get all that in there. We're just gonna stir that for just maybe 30 seconds before we add our rice. I'm gonna turn it down just a little. Got it sizzling a little too high. Okay, so to this we're gonna add a cup and a half of arborio rice, and this is what it looks like. It's beautiful, kind of pearly white. It's gorgeous rice. So that's a cup. And yep, half. And you just want to coat that rice really well with that butter olive oil mixture. Takes about, you want to cook this for about a minute. Okay, and while that's cooking, we're going to measure out our wine. We need half a cup of wine. You can see that all these little grains are coated nicely. That's what you want. And then you're going to add your wine. Listen to the rice go, thank you, I was hot. That's what it always sounds like to me when I put wet ingredients in.
Rice talks to you.
It does. Anytime you hear that sizzle, it's like, I was hot. Okay. So we're just gonna cook that down for a little bit, and I'll show you what it looks like when we add our broth. Okay, our wine has been absorbed. You can see that all that liquid's been absorbed, and it's already starting to get a little bit creamy. So when the wine's been absorbed, then you wanna go to your hot broth, and you're gonna spoon in a ladle of your hot broth. and continue stirring. And the key is, and I need to turn my pan down, it's a little too high, there we go. The key is that you have to keep stirring and keep adding the broth. So as this broth is absorbed into the rice, you're gonna add another ladle of the hot broth or the warm broth. I've turned it off now, it's just staying warm. And you'll do this for, I mean, it's gonna take you a while. You probably have 8 or so ladles of that, and you'll just keep stirring and adding and stirring and adding. But what you're doing is incorporating that liquid and making a really creamy, rich, smooth rice dish that you are really gonna love. So stay with it, be patient. As you can see, we're almost to the point now where we need to add another ladle, so it doesn't take that long between ladles. Just add another one. It's, you know, not super scientific, like you don't have to count the number of minutes between or anything. You just kind of eyeball it. And we'll be back to show you when we're close to the finish here. Okay, this is how it looks. We're about halfway to the halfway point. You can see it's creamy. The rice is enlarged and it's looking great, but we have about this much more of the broth to add. So when we are putting in the last ladle, I'll show you what it looks like and how we finish it up. All right, we are at the last ladle, and you can see, just so I'm fair there, that was the last ladle. Okay, so we're gonna keep stirring this around until that last little bit's incorporated, and then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan, which is right here, and I have minced some parsley, about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of parsley. And I'm also going to hit it with a little bit of salt to taste, and then it's going to be ready to serve. And you don't want to really make this too far ahead of time. So this isn't like a dish you want to have. I wouldn't say you want to do this really for company unless they want to sit there and watch you stir it, because it does take a while. But yeah, a lot of people love to have friends come over and hang out in the kitchen, and I mean, if your friends are like our friends, they'll sit around and watch you stir, as long as they get fed well. So here we go. I think we're about ready to add the other ingredients. So this is our parsley. Add that in, just for nice little freshness and color. 1/4 of our cup of freshly grated Parmesan. And then we do have Parmesan in there, but so it's, you know, that's got a little bit of a salty, nutty taste to it, but we do want a little bit of salt as well. So I'm going to put in about, it's about 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. And we'll give that a little stir and then taste it. See if we need to adjust our seasonings at all. Look how beautiful that is. And it smells so good. All right, so we'll give her a little taste here. It's absolutely perfect. It has plenty of salt, perfect amount of salt. You can taste the wine. The wine's very important. It adds a very nice richness to it. I promise you're gonna like it. Love it. It takes some time, like I said, but it's kind of therapeutic. So get in there, get your spoon, your wooden spoon, your rice, your stock, and have fun and enjoy.